Hey everybody, Spectre Senence here once again to do a review for Games Workshop's new Astra Militarum, which for you old Games Workshop fans know are the Imperial Guard. So we're going to kind of compare the two. I have the other old one from the 5th edition more or less, rule set for 4th edition, wherever it came out, to kind of go over that. And we'll head over into the book. Now, pretty much you're getting awesome splash art. This is a full color book. There's definitely lots of intriguing borders going with it. Their new name, obviously for Games Workshop's right to copyright anything kind of associated with this army build. So a lot of background through much of this, with splash arts dating back, a lot of history. I find it interesting that Manchurius is put in there. He hasn't been back in the old codex. He was in the codex prior to that. If you have the old figure, nice little story with that. There's a lot of talk with the different regiments, and nice splash page for this, where you're getting some interesting things. And the inclusion of something pretty new there would be the 10th, first and only, kind of showing a little bit there. But a lot of the old models are being featured in this, from the Tellurian Desert Raiders, the Vostrian Firstborn, Armageddon Steel Legion. So nothing going away in that aspect of there. A lot of showing of formations, and then of course just, you know, GW's dates of key events in their world. So one of the things they want to kind of put out is there are special rules. So heroes beyond number, going from that. More or less their only real special rule was heavy weapon teams. They're counted as single models, so there's no two attacks to that. They're just a single model for all aspects and everything, which is very interesting, except they're going to get the rule bulky. And that's kind of important for how things are using for shooting out of transports and stuff. Their warlord traits, I gotta say, are really pretty darn good. I had to check with the 5th and 4th one with Bellowing Voice and Master of Command, because it says if you have these voice of commands, you kind of get an additional one. So I'm assuming that really kind of gives your warlord a lot of chances to put out a lot of orders. But the first one, Grand Strategy, is an outflank, which is, you know, can be pretty useful depending on how aggressive you want to be with this. There is preferred enemy, which is awesome, especially if you have your commander really decked out with a lot of special weapons. What I thought was pretty cool was Draconian Disciplinarian. Friendly units within 12 inches of the warlord do not take casualties for 25%. That's crazy. That's a really, really good one. The 4th one's Relentless. That one I think is depending. You're gonna take some chances with that one. If you're really outfit with heavy weapons, you want to try to get more moving. I'll get a 1 in 6 chance, and then 5 and 6 had the additional orders. So really good warlord traits for this codex. Pretty impressive. The command orders, if you're familiar with the old codex before, are pretty much the same. I checked them out, how they work out. It's split up into Astra Military orders. So there are basically 3 more orders that junior command officers can do. The first one being Take Aim, which now gives the unit precision. There's Smite at Will, which was a split fire, so those are 2 new ones that really change things pretty well. There's actually 2 more forwards for the Emperor, which you can make a shoot and a run, so similar to the battle focus for the Eldar. And there is suppressive fire, which pins. The first rank, second rank fire, and the move are previous orders from the first Imperial Guard codex, so those are familiar with that. Then the 3 orders that were given to only the senior officer, bring it down, fire my target, and get back in the fight, are still there. Bring it down has been clarified to be more tank hunter and monster hunter instead of twin linked. Fire on my target is now ignores cover, and get back in the fight pretty much is more clarified that the model can now it doesn't, it basically is regrouping automatically and doesn't count as if it had fallen back. So those 3 are awesome for senior officers, making really, I mean, just that alone makes taking senior officers pretty impressive. The platoon squads, the command units in this codex now are having so much more options to do, making actually the command teams viable, dangerous targets for you to really deal with. Pretty impressive with that. So broken down for your HQ, it's the company command squad. They're kind of going over with a lot of that. Regimental advisors, I was checking this out, thought it was pretty interesting. The artillery bombardment seems now to be a little bit more clear on able to command that and fire. This was the really interesting one. You can take apparently a couple of other Navy orders, the Office of the Fleet only, and it does say your opponent suffers -1 penalty to all reserve rolls during his next turn, but will always pass reserve rolls with 6. But just before it says, if you have more than 1 officer of the fleet, all modifiers are cumulative. So the Imperial Astra Miliatarum can really hamper now reserves that were pretty darn good, because they moved up in the 6th edition. They were one of the few that tampered with it before, but now really messing with that. I'm just going to go back just to check on what you could take for these guys. So it does say 1, but I'm assuming if you were to take now 2 as a HQ for your 2 HQ slots, and have that, and possibly there was another one added, there could be up to, so it's looking like just up to 2, but that makes, you know, what they were coming on a 3+ now coming on a 5+, so 2 company HQ commands can really hamper opponent for that aspect there. So impressive. One of the new things I thought was very interesting on this is tank commanders. So not just PASC, but an actual tank commander. If you really don't want to go with commands and you want your boss in a tank, now is an option for the Guard. I did not see yet. Does not make it so you can make tanks troops, so you're not really getting an armored group with this, just a commander in the tank. I was checking that, but this is still not a bad thing. You're sitting there going, well, what's the point? But this tank commander is pretty darn cool. He's got a full throttle, meaning the tank can now move flat out, going 66, even though it's heavy, so that's a really good move. He's got a gunner's kill on sight, and he can be attached to he's actually attached to a squad of tanks, and he fires at one thing, his squads fire at another, so that's pretty darn cool. I've been doing tank squads, and to have, you know, having that third tank there seems a little excessive, especially if you're having punishers. Your tank commander now can split fire and break that up. That's pretty cool. And then a pretty cool one is Strike and Shroud, which is the tanks can move up and fire, and then if they haven't used their smoke launchers, then they can activate the smoke launchers, and that giving you a pretty aggressive turn and then some protection. So pretty cool with that. Commissars are pretty much all you know, except it does now state that you can only have your Lord Commissar as the warlord if he is the only HQ choice who doesn't have a senior officer special rule. So you can't make him now the commander over the command teams. Better clarification and the intent on that. We have our regimental specialists. They've added the Ministerium Priest, and these guys have gotten even better than the old stuff. And just to kind of check that, I can find some in here. They have really moved up from once just being icy with righteous fury, rerolling failed to hit, that they can do on humans, and then their weaponry. They're now given war hands. They're independent characters. They have the Zealot special rule, which gives them a lot of that extra ability. But they have the Emperor Protects. They can reroll all failed armor and invulnerable saves. Or the Emperor's Strength, which gives everyone the Smash special rule, which is pretty cool. And then the Righteous of the Emperor, the Ministerium Priest and his unit rerolled failed rolls to wound at the end of the phase. That's pretty darn cool. That makes these priests have become very, very important and very good. I've seen them, as you saw Spectre while using with the Sisters of Battle. I'm gonna see them a little bit more. They're gonna definitely find some places having that. That's pretty darn cool. The Primus Psychers are clarified now that they definitely have the Biomancy, Divination, Pyromancy, and Telekinesis. The Engine Seers are also awesome. Let's see if I can find so pretty much before they had the Blessings of Omasaya, and their equipment working with servitors, but they gained a new special rule called Awaken the Machine. In each of the shooting phases, instead of firing his weapon, the engine seer may choose a single friendly Astra Miliatarum vehicle within 12 inches. That vehicle gains the power of the machine spirit special rule until the end of the turn. So, vehicles who wish to move and or wish to split fire, that will give them that ability. So, very, very cool with that. Really, a lot of bonuses for what you're getting out of this. Infantry platoons remain much the same. Adding also with the conscripts, the special weapons, they can still combine squad. So you get your command unit, and up to 2 to 5 squads can combine, getting that. Veterans are all there. However, there were a noticeable difference in the veterans. Pretty much some of the special sergeants were gone. I'll go into in actually the equipment thing, but that I saw changed. The new thing now is the Militarum Tempetus. They are what was formerly the Stormtroopers, so they have kind of go on the name of Scions. So the cool thing about them, from what I got out of that, is very similar to everything you got. Pretty much all similar rules, except they're now built to, you can build an entire command platoon up, basically a platoon off it, including a command squad, which wasn't before. You can only choose 3, and that would take all your elite slot. Now you can actually have another functioning platoon with these guys. And they also were upgraded to having a hotshot volley gun, which is also very, very decent and very cool for special weapons. So, new weapon with that. They're very, very good. Impressed. It's some very interesting looking models, so it'll be interesting to see where that works in. The Chimeras pretty much have some rule clarifications going with them now, a lot to do with the back hatch. And let me see if I can compare it to the old. So basically 5 models we're able to use to fire from the old Chimera. Now it has now been reduced to 2, but it does mention, remember, the heavy weapon team does count as a single model, so that group can still fire and another model can fire alongside that. However, it does give you the option to now fire the lasgun arrays that most people don't like on the back of the Chimera, are now having back to having the capacity to doing something again, almost very old reminiscent of the 3rd edition, which they can fire at separate target than the actual hull mounted and turret weaponry. so you can kind of waste las gunshots on infantry units with that. All the las guns must fire at the same target. That is stated in that, but I don't think in practicality you're going to be able to do that, because they're on, one is facing one way, the other is facing the other. So it really is going to be like 3 shots that you're going to basically get. Maybe that's the best I can see. 3 shots going in one direction. The other 3 really won't be able to fire, because you got to still go with fireworks. So not as clear on that aspect for what GW was intending with that. Still can have mobile command, so it can cast orders and using the hull. This book introduces the Torexis. I gotta say, it is a half decent looking model. The tread are terrible design. I don't have the model. I'm not really interested in the actual model themselves. The vehicle itself is, to be honest, is an You're sacrificing 1 point of front armor, which a Chimera gives you as a 12. This is an 11. I think it has some better weaponry. From what I can gather, when I look in the back, I'll double check it again from that. It is cool because it does reroll all dangerous terrain, but I don't really feel that's a big deal with Imperial Guard. If you immobilize your vehicle, it's less one hull, but you stay put. It's not, I mean, Imperial Guard just stay put anyways. So they kind of picture it with the Scions. I'm assuming that's probably what they intended it for, to be more impressive, but if I'm using my Scions, I'm definitely putting them in Valkyries and Vendettas. That's just me, because they have the drop, they have deep strike, and the deep strike capacity works better for them. So speaking of, I think I will double check on some. I think they did lose the reroll, so they're not as good as before, because the old Scions had reroll for their scatter on a deep strike. Yeah, with special operations. So they don't have the special operation rule anymore. So heading back to them. So that's the difference. So I don't know. The Torox, it's up to you if you like the design. I'm hearing a lot of modifications, and I'm hearing a lot of orcs want the vehicle. The Prime is cool. It has a battle cannon, a special Torox battle cannon, and twin link hotshot volley guns. So pretty decent from that aspect. You have the Wordvane Psychers, which is the Psyker Battle Squad now, again renamed. They do not have Soulstorm anymore. They literally just have the Biomancy, Divination, Primacy, and Telekinesis. So interesting, to say the least, for that. I guess I'd have to try them out quite a bit to see with different powers how that works, but they're basically not getting that massive Soulstorm thing anymore. That was pretty abusive, and so it's no surprise that that's gone. So their 2 psychic powers there are just gone. It's just a brotherhood of the Psychers using one of the 4. So maybe Divination will helpful if you can put it on the right squad. Depending, again, you have to work it out. Rattlings are pretty cool now. They have a shoot sharp and scarper, which they may shoot and then run. So I think that's a pretty neat little feature out of them, kind of keeping them on the move and doing some things with that. The Ogrins, they're there. They were given Hammer of Wrath, which is pretty cool. You can somewhat like a monstrous creature, I guess. Yeah, stats are relatively, most stats are the same, but there are now Bulgrins. This is a new model. They're in Carapace armor instead of flak. They have the new Grenadier Gauntlet and a slab shield. So, they basically provide some stuff, from the shield, giving really cover, a frontal assault type of group. They're Ogrins, so they're decent, not really great. Depending on their points, we'll check some point comparisons. Rough Riders are back. I think guess remember having someone say that Sentinels had changed some things on them. So basically, it sounds like the Armored Sentinel now gets moved through cover, which didn't have it before, because only the Scout Sentinel had both special rules. So, looking like everything is better for them in that regard. All the Lehman Russ tanks seem to be there from before: Battle Tank, Exterminator, Vanquisher, Eradicator, Demolisher, Punisher, and Executioner. So they're all there. The Valkyrie and Vendetta. The Vendetta got reduced to only having 6 passengers. So that is a change from that. Where before they both had the same capacity. Hydras, they never said anything in the old book, but they used to give them the ability to intercept. That's definitely been worded out. They have the Skyfire rule though, so that's good. The Basilisks seem to be pretty much the same. They now have these Wyverns with Twin Link Storm Shard Mortars, so we'll check that out because the Griffin is gone apparently. Manticores, Death Strikes, they're still there. All the Hellhound specials and their variants are there. The special characters, we have Commissary Yarrick, who made it back. Lord Castilia's Creed and the Color Sergeant Kell is back with him. Colonel Ironhand Strachan is there. Lord Deadog is there. Knight Commander Pask has returned, so he gets the tank orders as well as crack shot. So again, even more so out of Pask, so making him pretty darn good. So we lose Sergeant Bastone. He is gone, which is too bad. He was one of mine that I did enjoy a lot. Guardsman Marlborough, again, he's a kind of a favorite just because of the demolition charge. Harker was given in the veteran thing. So Captain Al-Harim is gone, Commander Chenkov is gone, Mogul Kamir is also gone at this time. So we're hoping that they come into data slates. So let's check some newer weaponry. So the Death Strike missile, they gave it basically a 10-inch blast, which is pretty much, I think, stated before, but on the actual weapon. Weapon has a variable blast once the following has been determined, mark the impacted with a counter and roll to determine the blast. So it apparently is definitely larger than before. So 10-inch using the apocalyptic template. Fires about the same, so pretty cool with that. So definitely pretty impressive. So the Death Strike is going to be something to possibly fear. Grenadier Gauntlet. 12-inch range, strength 4, AP6, assault 1 blast. That's on our Bulgrins. The Hotshot Volley Gun, the Scions are using, so 24-inch range, strength 4, AP3, salvo 2-4. So it's a really nice jump, putting some more heavy hitting in that las gun power. So Hydra Autocannon is definitely listed as heavy 2 Skyfire. Storm Shard Modar, so it's 40-inch range, strength 4, AP6, heavy 2, barrage, blast, ignores cover, and the shred special rules. So pretty decent, but light infantry. Definitely try to do some wounding. I think it's okay. The Turok's battle cannon, 40-inch range, strength 7, AP 4, heavy 1 blast. Turok's Gatling cannon, 24-inch range, strength 4, no AP, heavy 10. Thought that was pretty decent. Turok's missile launcher, they're heavy 2s with either blast or crack, depending on what you're using with that. The Vanquish battle cannon does get armor bang. So some interesting things with that. So pretty straightforward with that aspect. There's some new special issue war gear. You got the Brute Shield, which confers a 5+ invulnerable save. Again, the Bulgrins have them. Definitely some things I think are clarifying. The platoon standard is +1 to combat resolution. Regimental standards get to reroll morale within 12 inches, of course. The slab shield, again, I think with the Bulgrins, give it a +1 armor save, and anything that they shoot behind something with a slab shield, they'll get an additional +1 cover save. So 5+ cover from shooting to a unit behind it is actually going to be a 4+ cover. So making them pretty interesting. And snare mines are interesting, saying enemy units that charge unit with snare mines count as having made a disordered charge. So clear that, taking away the attack. So we have some equipment, so augury array, making it so scatter is reduced. There is recovery gear, trying to fix the immobilizations. Relic plating, giving the vehicle adamantine will. So those are cool things. We have some heirlooms. The tactical auto reclaimer of Tiberius. So rerolling issues for leadership. The Lord of Command, sanctions the morale. They pretty much kind of like Magnus Carlsson can decide if they pass or fail. You've got Korov's Aquila. All friendly models in the codex within 60 have the preferred enemy special rule. In addition, the bearer may reroll failed single leadership. That's a pretty cool one. Beta Conquest is +1 strength, AP3, melee, mastercrafted. We have the Emperor's Benediction pistol with precision shot, mastercrafted. It's strength 5, AP4. The Death Mask of Olanius, that will give a 4+ invulnerable save, and then the model will get "It Will Not Die" and Fear special rules. So pretty cool. And nice picture of some Scions and Toroxes, Bulgrins, all of that supported. So a lot of the wonderful models. GW's pretty much the finest, really arraying some of the Cadians. There are pictures of Catachans in here too, so we'll see if that is something that is going to be broken off. Like I said, they didn't really seem like they gave up on some of the old line models. As you can see, the Tanith and the Armageddon models, the Westurians, they're being showcased there. Showcasing some of the vehicles. So you got your Hellhounds and Chimeras, and oops, there's the Turoks. So as you can see, kind of an odd old cache truck. I'm not really know how I feel about it. And more there. This guy is looking pretty cool. I like the helmet thing. I feel the front is a little old school, kind of knightish, fantasy knight. Alright with that. And of course the showcasing the Bulgrins and the Ogrins now. Kind of say, some weird dorky looking Ogrins. So I'm not sure if I will ever pick up any of the newer ones of those, but I do kind of really like the Bulgrins. I might down the road have to look at that. And here's our Wyvern there. It's pretty cool there. It's an interesting model. And again, some more splash pages. So, like before, there's a war gear chart here. So, grab your group and you will head to choosing. So, we'll try to figure out how things have matched up cost-wise. So it looks like our command squad right off the bat has gone up 10 points for that. Creed has gone down 10 points, with Kel going down also 10 points. Strachan has gone up a lot. He's gone up almost 35 points for Strachan. Nordedog has gone down a great deal, though. He is almost 25 points less for right off the bat with that. Most of your company command squad advisors, the Astropaths is actually 5 points cheaper. 10 points are cheaper for Master of Ordnance and Officer of the Fleet. So interesting with that. And there are just tons of little options. I don't want to rattle off for a lot of that, but they're giving quite a bit of that. Except I think with the Astropath here being a little different, you're actually getting a telepathy discipline there. So I guess you can see where the points are being better used for that. So overall, still impressive. Yarick is kind of leading this group here from before, and Yarick is actually about 40 points cheaper to get him. So let's check some other things here. So of course, a tank commander is 30 points on top of the tank. That's pretty darn cool. And you can get 40 more points for like 70 points, gets you past. I think that's about 20 points if I remember correctly from what Pask was before. Yeah, Pask was at 50 point now, so now you're paying 20 more points to get Pask, but that 20 points of extra orders is just already awesome, so I don't really see that being a big deal for Astra Miliatarum players. So Lord Commissars have gone down 5 points. You can get Commissars. They are put in the HQ. They do not take up Force Org. And I believe, yeah, so they were Commissars, having to go back here, worth 35 points. They're down 10 points to get that. Awesome. I mean, it sounds like already we're getting more models for what we used to field for most of it. Ministorm Priest are unbelievably 20 points cheaper for their new rules. Wow. I think that's really underpriced for what they're really going to be able to do for you. 25 points. Yeah, that's crazy. You can get 3 of them, and they do not qualify as a mandatory HQ selection, so they're pretty much easy to put in there. The Primaris Psyker now doesn't take up Force Org either, and you may take up to 3 of them out of the group. So wow, that's crazy. They're 20 points cheaper, which is, I feel, is probably fine. No longer having the Liking Arc and Night Shroud, which is good. You know, pretty much never have to worry about it. You could get it before. To get him up to level 2 is 25 more points. So that's also good. Pretty well with that. Again, that's just awesome. Engine Seers are 5 points cheaper, and they never took up a spot before, but now you can include 1 more of them, where there was only before you were able to take 2. Now you can get 3, and of course the Servitors. So you now have 4 HQ selection slots for the Astra Ministorium that do not even take up Force Org, and they're up to literally 9 models out of the Priest, the Psyker, and the Engine Seer. And then of course you could add a Commissar to your basic your 6 troop choices for your company command platoon. 。 or even more. I mean, you can get so many commissars that can be added to a huge list of individuals. That's, man, I'm so glad I have so many commissars, because that's just insane. That's some really good stuff. Alright, info Tunes, let's see, so 30 points, so there's pretty much the same, with the squads being the same. It's like some weapons, so some power weapons will be costing you more. Voxcaster seems to be the same. You have to go and check out the special weaponry now, which is a group choice. So I think some things are, everything seems to be about the same. Yeah. Although the interesting thing with a lot of that now is that you can, I think, as far as I can see, they may also take flak missiles too, so you can really get a lot of skyfiring aspects out of your units. Alright, so pretty much everything is will be the same. 3 heavy weapon squads, 3 special squads, that really is no different, to be all attached into things. So you get all of those. Heavy weapon squads though are pretty much starting now 15 points cheaper, and special weapon squads are 5 points cheaper. Your conscript unit, starting with a group of 20, has also dropped 20 points. So some of the special stuff you're going to be starting to add more of, and that's going to give you a lot more. So your troops, bulk core seems to be the same. Might be able to drop some points here and there from some additional stuff, but pretty darn good for that aspect. And remember that Commander Chenkov and Captain Harim are gone out of the troops slot. Our veterans have actually dropped 10 points, so wow, pretty cool with that. And so the only thing out of this is gonna basically lose 1 special weapon if you take a heavy weapon. So before it was 3 special weapons and a heavy, you are losing one of those models. So I'm gonna have to do some reworking on some of my veterans again. Everything else seems to be the Grenadiers, Forward Sentries, and Demolitions are still there. Sergeant Hawker is still there. He is the same points, but Sergeant Bastone is gone. So, yep, that's pretty much all the points for that. The Chimera is actually 10 more points, so trying to get you more possibly to buy the Turox and the Turox Prime, which is 50 and 80 points. So there's your additionals for that. Heading into our elites. Get to that part. So Ogrins remain the same. They added Bulgrins, which are 15 points more. Ratlings are the same amount of points. Your Psyker battle squads, Wordvan Psychers, are the same. Remember I said that the Stormtroopers are now the Scions. They are they can be taken as a platoon now. They are basically about 15 points less, and you can build them up starting with 5, so you can, you know, bring these in on Valkyries, or, you know, or stay small and go into some vendettas. And out of the elites that are gone is Marlborough, so no longer possessing him. So into the fast attack, which have your Scout Sentinels staying the same in points. Your Armored Sentinels have actually dropped 15 points. So those are a little bit easier to bring in. The rough, they are pretty much. See, the Hellhound has dropped 5 points. The Devil Dog has gone up 15 points, and the Bane Wolf remains the same. So upgrades, about 5 points cheaper. So the Valkyrie did go up 25 points. You may still squad them up. And pretty much a lot of the point things look to be pretty similar, maybe a little bit down. Vendettas are a big 40-point increase, so those that wish to have that a little bit more tougher, you have gotten your wish. The Vendettas are now sporting 170. Again, you can still squad up and get that aspect out of that, which is fine. I thought, you know, they were definitely a 3 twin link lasgun is pretty darn lethal, so with other things going down, that works. So we're heavy weapons, heavy support. The battle tank remains the same. Exterminator is about 20 points cheaper. The Vanquisher is 20 points cheaper. The Eradicator is 40 points cheaper. The Demolisher is 10 points more, or 5 points more. It's a little bit of an upgrade. The Punisher is 40 points cheaper. Wow. I love fielding those tanks. So that right there just saved me about 120 points right there. That's awesome. And the Executioner is, wow, it's 35 points cheaper. So Lehman Russ is really across the board, really dropped even more down to price. So pretty good with that. Liking that. Hydra Battery is 5 points less. Remember, Pasc is no longer an upgrade for here though. You're going to have to get them out of your HQ. And so the Medusa, the Colossus, and the Griffin are now the excluded models. Other units that are really gone out of this codex. So you have the Basilisk still. They are same in points. You now are given the Wyvern Battery to replace those other vehicles. The Manticore remains, but it's now 10 points more. And strangely enough, the Death Strike, after we just saw how big the explosion is the same cost, even though it's using an apocalyptic template. Not sure about that. So, we have just gone over the new, get this out there, Astra Miliatarum Codex. What do I think? Well, after you've heard me rant about the Tyranid Codex, this codex is definitely worth the price tag. This has me much more excited. I can definitely say I probably will be playing less of my Tyranids, unfortunately, as much as I enjoy the look of those models and having some fun with them. This has way more versatility and modification. It's going to be great to go back and start modifying some of the vets. I don't mind losing a little bit that, you know, the veterans were pretty powerful. To try to get some more models changed around a little bit more with that. But I mean, the combinations in this book are fantastic. I mean, this is, to me, not feeling too overpowered, but in the same limelight of the what the Codex Astartes group is, where you're going to get chapter tactics and stuff like that. You can really change. You can have a Lord Commissar lead your army. You can have just company command doing it. Now you can have a tank commander doing it. There's so many mixing and matching between pieces, the platoons and the veterans and stuff like that. Plus, you know, your elites and fast. There's just so many more things that make this army changing greatly. I think it's awesome. It's a definitely getting a big thumbs up. Well done, Codex. Really, really out there for you guys. You should be able to enjoy it. There's really one downside if you're a big heavy supporter of Griffins and Medusas. Sorry, I know some friends who modified their Basilisks to take a lot of those stuff. Sorry, the Griffins were cool, but they're gone now. You know, the Wyvern is okay, but definitely there's some things that if you enjoy the stuff that you built before, which I have, they're going to still be there. And now adding in priests and stuff like that, I think you're up to par to dealing with people and handling them and giving them a fight. You know, I don't say you'll roll everybody, but it'll definitely make it really interesting to do so. So I hope you enjoy this. That's my honest review of this, and we'll see what else comes next. And stay tuned, subscribe, like us, and try to get some more people to join us as well. We definitely love to be doing this for you guys more often. Thanks.